So all kind of things. But then don't forget the residential side, the commercial side. Huge amount of use. If you get into Texas, standard downtown office building, multi-story office building, half the water it uses is makeup water for its cooling towers. Now, the cooling towers are pretty forgiving on the kind of water that you can take in there. They don't like high BOD loadings or organic loadings, but you can handle that, and think of some of your opportunities that you may have there. Also, there are a lot of buildings now that are being designed with whole system reuse systems. This happens to be one. It was originally it's a GE Xenon technology that actually uses membrane filtration, reproduces this water, cleans it up to the point where it can be reused for toilet flushing and urinal flushing. If you look at water use inside of a building, average office building, about 90% of the water gets used in there is used for, or 80 or 90% is used for hand washing and for toilet flushing. And so if you can recycle that water and reuse it again, plus you catch some extra water from the hand washing laboratories, you can reduce water use by 80 or 90% in these buildings. Now, I didn't mention the cooling tower. We're not on that one. This is interior plumbing. And you have to look at a lot of things. This is the first I'm going to show you here. And what I'm trying to do here is characterize what are some of the problems that you may run into with the different sources of water. Rainwater is typically pretty safe. It's clean water. Depends on what it ran off of. Also, think of your roof. How many squirrels and how many birds, and what do they do on the roof? You know, do think of that. But you have that all the way down to on-site wastewater treatment plants where you have high sediment loads, high organic loads, high pathogen considerations. So what is my source of water, and what do I have to do to bring it up to the use that I want? Well, we've been doing on-site wastewater treatment for a long time with something called septic tanks. You know, the grass always does grow greener over the septic tank. And so anytime you're in subsurface systems, there's treatment that needs to be done to remove the solids and the grease and everything, but you can use that fairly safely in a lot of areas. Something different from the standard leach field. You can use the dosing fields and stuff like this. It's been around. Nobody's thought of it as a water reuse type system, though. And then you get up to all kind of things: air conditioning, condensate, pool backwash water. There are cities in the United States right now that are strongly encouraging their citizens to not put swimming pool water down the sanitary sewer. In some places, they even ban it, and because they don't want that water in the sewer, they want it some other place. And some other place is usually the yard. The city of Austin in Austin, Texas, actually the Parks and Recreation Department catches its filter backwash water, runs it into a large hole, and I mean you can stick your finger in it, type distribution system, and uses it for flood irrigation of certain areas that they want to keep green but are not directly used all the time by for picnicking and everything like that. So a lot of different things happening in that area. I could go on down with all the different things. I go back to graywater here because everybody talks graywater. It means so many different definitions. Like I said, look at the IAPMO, Uniform Plumbing Code definition. That's what I mean when I say graywater. Now, so you just got through taking that. Now this, you said, well, he just showed the same thing again. If you look up here, what kind of filtration is almost always needed? Again, it depends on the use. If you're going to drink rainwater, most of the people, and by the way, there are very few health codes on this at this time. Most people are going to say, well, you need to at least filter and disinfect this. And that could be UV filtration, chlorine, ozone. There are a number of different things out there. If you're going to use it for landscape irrigation, use it for landscape irrigation. You probably aren't going to need anything on that. That's one example. You get all the way down to using on-site wastewater, and you're going to have to go through all these different methods of treatment to make that water reusable if you're going to use it in any surface type use. Again, I'll go back. One of the few states I know of that actually has code that allows you to take your wastewater in rural areas and use it for above ground irrigation in the residential setting is the state of Texas. It's if you look at Texas Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, it's Rule 285. But anyway, with that said, always on these systems where you're getting into the potential for problems like that, look at it to see what your local codes are, and the good codes also require some type of regular inspection of these systems where you have the high bacteriological loadings such as the blackwater systems. Enough of that. You can read that chart for yourself. Types of treatment, we all know what they are. All kind of different things here. We can do a lot of things. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this diagram somewhere. It appears in almost every place where the people sell reverse osmosis units. But it talks about what to filter out. I'm not trying to get into teaching on this. I'm just saying there are a lot of things to consider when you start walking through these systems. You have strainers of all kinds. You have even ultra pure water systems. This system right here takes the waste from a plating outfit and turns that back into ultra pure water. They actually are plating parts for use in the computer industry, and they're doing on-site recycling with that water. If you're putting reverse osmosis units in, first place they could be an excellent source of recycled water, but boy, can they waste the water if you're not. How many of you have installed or worked with a small residential RO unit? You know, they can dump 4 or 5 gallons of water down the drain for every one they produce. They're great big guys. If you get over and start talking about the microchip industry, they recover 3 gallons for every one they dump. So that just shows you the difference. A lot of different things when you start getting to that. But I wanted to get into a few of the other things. We're going to talk about rainwater catchment, and I'm going to let Bob talk about this. But for every inch of rainfall, you get 0.63 gallons of water per square foot. Stop and think about that. Add up the square footage of your roof. If you're in a big warehouse, you could run the whole warehouse for a whole year on that water without any problem at all. There are many homes that run on nothing but rainwater, and they are very successful. AC condensate. Air conditioning condensate is the untapped source out there. In this particular system, this is in gallons per day out of this happened to be a data management center. And look at this, in the middle of the summer, they're getting 5,000 or 6,000 gallons a day of very pure water out of that system.